Copy. And attention all stations, this is the NTD performing the launch status checks. Verify ready to resume count and go for launch. Say go, no go. OTC. Go. TVC. Tank and boosters are go. TTC. Go. LPS. LPS is go. Flight.
Flights go.
Mila. Mila's go. STM. Go. Safety console. Safety console go. SPE.
SPE's go.
LRD. LRD is go. SRO.
SRO is go. You have range clear to launch.
I copy. And CDR.
Discovery's go.
Very good. And Launch Director NTD, the launch team is ready to proceed.
Okay, I'll perform my poll at this time. Engineering. Safety and mission assurance.
Safety and mission assurance is go, Ralph.
Payload processing.
Payloads are go.
Cape weather.
Roger, sir. We have no constraints to launch. Over.
Ops manager.
MMT is go for launch.
See engineering one more time.
Attention all stations, this NTD on 212. We will be resuming the count momentarily. Stand by.
We've remained in the built-in hold an additional 8.5 minutes so far.
So, I've completed my poll. We are go.
All right, thank you. CDR launch director.
Go ahead, launch director.
Kurt, the launch team is go. Your vehicle's ready. The weather's beautiful out there. On behalf of the entire launch team, you and the crew of Discovery have a great mission.
Thank you very much, sir. And Discovery's crew is definitely ready to go, and we would like you to proceed.
Copied. Countdown clock will resume on my mark. 3, 2, 1, mark.
Now we're now at T-minus 9 minutes and counting. We heard NASA Test Director Doug Lyons conduct a poll of the launch team. Also Ralph Rowe, launch director, conducting a poll of his team. And Don McMonagle also giving the input from the mission management team, also located here in the firing room. All systems are go for the launch of the shuttle Discovery. Looking for an on-time liftoff. The orbiter access arm would be retracted away from the shuttle in just a few moments. Orbiter access arm now moving away from the shuttle Discovery as we get a final glimpse of the cockpit where the 7 astronauts await the launch of STS-95. T-minus 7 minutes and counting. The orbiter's auxiliary power units will be started at the T-minus 5 minute mark. These units provide hydraulic power to the orbiter. The shuttle's 3 main engines will be started at the T-minus 6 second mark. They will come up to full thrust, and right at the T-minus 0 point, we will have the boosters ignite and the shuttle will lift off.
Not recorded. Orders are started. The SRO on 212.
Go ahead, SRO.
Yes, sir. We need to hold the clock at T-minus 5 minutes. We have an aircraft that we can't find.
Okay, I copy that. And CLS NTD, sort of hold at 5, please.
CLS copies and work.
Launch count will hold at the T-minus 5 minute mark. The range safety officer reported an aircraft in the area. We need to locate that aircraft and escort it out of the flight path of the vehicle. Again, the range safety officer monitoring the airspace within the Kennedy Space Center vicinity reported an aircraft in the area.
We'll have the range attempts to resolve their issue. Please stand by. CDR NTD on 212.
CDR, go ahead.
As for you and the crew, Kurt, as you've heard, we are on a momentary hold here due to the range, but they're attempting to take care of that condition, and we expect that we will be good to proceed here shortly.
And the CDR copies.
Launch team here at KSC continuing to maintain at their consoles, remaining in a hold at the T-minus 5 minute mark. Today will mark the 8th time we've had 2 space shuttles on both launch pads at the same time during a launch. The Space Shuttle Endeavour is at launch pad 39A, being prepared for the first space station launch from the United States. Endeavour is carrying the Unity node, which is the first piece of the space station hardware that will be launched into orbit by NASA here at Kennedy Space Center. It's built into the hold at the T-minus 5 minute mark. Again, this is an unscheduled hold based on the information from the Superintendent of Range Operations. Receiving information there are aircraft in the area at Kennedy Space Center. The airspace must be clear before we launch the shuttle Discovery.
Go ahead, SRO.
Yes, sir. Range is clear for launch at this time. You have a go from the range. Recommend pick up the clock at 19:15 Zulu with a new T0 of 19:20 Zulu.
Countdown clock will pick up momentarily. GLS, pick up the count on your mark.
GLS copies. 3, 2, 1, mark. GLS is go for orbiter APU start.
PLT, OTC, perform APU start.
Copy that, in work.
CDR, OTC, reconfigure heaters.
CDR copies, heater reconfig, in work. OTC, PLT, APU start is complete, 3 in the green.
Copy that.
T-minus 4 minutes and counting. The orbiter flight control systems are being moved through their pre-programmed pattern, and they will be verified they are ready for launch. The 3 main engines are being gimbaled and positioned for launch. All systems are go for launch at this time, just a few minutes away from the 25th voyage of Discovery with a crew of 7.
GLS will hold at T-minus 31 seconds due to a failure indication.
And GLS NCD copies.
Again, this was the issue we described earlier. This is a known condition.
Pressurization.
It's just an indicator that was providing inaccurate data.
Clear caution and warning memory, verify no unexpected errors.
Copy that, in work.
NTD, CLC, MPS engine 2 pitch, actuator profile, verified nominal. CLC is go for launch.
And CRC is NTD, I copy, go for launch. STE?
STS go.
It's break, NTD, SRO on 212.
Go ahead, SRO.
Yes, sir. We will need to hold the clock. Range is no-go. We have a fouled range.
I copy that, and we'll hold at T-minus 31 seconds, and be advised our hold time there is 5 minutes and 18 seconds.
Range understands hold time of 5 minutes, 18 seconds. OTC, PLT, caution warning clear, no expected errors.
Countdown clock will be holding. The Superintendent of Range Operations announcer is
Remove the hold in association with our engine 2 pitch, and insert a hold at T-minus 31 seconds due to the range.
GLS copies and work.
Flight crew OTC, close and lock your visors, initiate O2. And on this historic mission, let the wings of Discovery lift us onto the future.
Break, NTD, SRO on 212.
Go ahead, SRO.
Yes, sir. Range is go for launch. The range is clear.
I copy that, Launch Director NTD.
Let's go.
And GLS, please remove the hold at T-minus 31.
Copy and work.
T-minus 1 minute and counting. All systems are go. All systems have been reported go for launch of Discovery. Less than 1 minute away now from the historic return of John Glenn to space.
I copy and attention all stations. The countdown clock will continue.
GLS is go for auto sequence start.
Discovery's onboard computers now have control of vehicle functions. T-minus 20 seconds. T-minus 15. T-minus 10, 9, 8. We have a go for engine start. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Booster ignition and liftoff of Discovery with a crew of 6 astronaut heroes and 1 American legend.
Houston Discovery, roll program.
Roger, roll, Discovery. Houston, go at throttle up.
Roger, go at throttle up.
One minute and 50 seconds into the flight. Discovery now at an altitude of 25 miles, traveling at a speed of 2,900 miles an hour. The next event will be burnout and separation of Discovery's twin solid rocket boosters.
Discovery Houston, 2-engine Banjul.
Copy, 2-engine Banjul.
Capcom Susan Still informing the crew that in the event of a single engine failure,
Discovery Houston, performance nominal.
Copy, performance nominal.
Discovery could now reach the transatlantic abort site at Banjul. However, telemetry indicating all 3 engines continuing to perform well, and Discovery's performance to this point, 2.5 minutes into the flight, has been as expected. Discovery now traveling at a speed of 3,500 miles per hour at an altitude of 43 miles, downrange from the Kennedy Space Center, 70 miles. All systems are continuing to perform well. 3 minutes into the flight, Discovery now traveling at a speed of 3,850 miles per hour, downrange from the Kennedy Space Center at a distance of 86 miles.
Discovery copies, negative return.
And with that call, Discovery is now too far downrange and has gained too much altitude to return to the Kennedy Space Center in the event of an engine failure.
Discovery Houston, press to ATO.
Discovery copies, press ATO.
And Discovery could now reach orbit on 2 engines should one fail. However, telemetry continues to indicate that all 3 main engines are performing at 104% of rated thrust as expected. 4 minutes, 21 seconds into the flight, just about 4 more minutes of powered flight remaining. Discovery traveling at a speed of 5,700 miles per hour, downrange from the Kennedy Space Center, 200 miles. 5 minutes into the mission, 3.5 minutes of powered flight remaining.
Discovery Houston, press to MECO.
Discovery copies, press to MECO.
That call means that Discovery could now reach a safe orbit on 2 engines should one fail. All 3 main engines are continuing to perform.
Discovery Houston, single engine Ops 3 Banjul.
Discovery copies, single engine Ops 3 Banjul.
Discovery now at a speed of 7,600 miles per hour, downrange from the Kennedy Space Center, 308 miles. All systems on board are continuing to perform well. Just about 3 minutes of powered flight remaining.
Discovery Houston, single engine Banjul 104.
Discovery copies, single engine Banjul 104.
With all 3 main engines still up and running on board at Discovery, that call was that Discovery could make it to the transatlantic abort site at Banjul in the event that 2 engines should fail, but all 3 engines are continuing to perform as expected. Discovery now downrange from the Kennedy Space Center, 385 miles, traveling at a speed of 9,100 miles per hour at an altitude of just about 68 miles.
Discovery Houston, single engine press 104.
Discovery copies, single engine press 104.
6 minutes and 40 seconds into the flight, traveling at a speed of 10,700 miles per hour, Discovery could now reach orbit on 1 engine should 2 fail. However, all 3 engines are still performing at 104% of rated thrust. 7 minutes and 10 seconds into the flight, Discovery's engines will soon begin to throttle back to maintain structural limits on the orbiter as it approaches loads near 3 times normal gravity. Discovery now traveling at the rate of 12,800 miles per hour, downrange from the Kennedy Space Center, 630 miles. 7 minutes and 52 seconds into the flight, Discovery is now traveling at a speed of 15,000 miles per hour, downrange from the Kennedy Space Center, 750 miles. The 3 main engines have throttled back to maintain structural limits on the orbiter as it reaches its 3G limiting load. And standing by for confirmation of Cutoff of the main engines in just about 10 seconds or so.
Discovery Houston, Namanamiko, ohms 1 not required.
Copy, ohms 1 not required.
And main engine cutoff and separation of the external tank confirmed by the booster officer here in Mission Control. 8 minutes and 53 seconds into the flight, the crew of Discovery in orbit, John Glenn in orbit for the second time in his life, currently at an altitude of just about 72 miles. And this is Mission Control Houston. 11 minutes and 16 seconds into the flight, the crew of Discovery is in orbit, following a liftoff at 1:20 p.m. Central Time, following 2 brief delays, one to clear aircraft out of the area of the launch site, another to work a minor technical issue. But the crew now on orbit, and they will begin very shortly to climb out of their seats and prepare for 9 very busy days on orbit. An uneventful climb to orbit today for the 7-member crew of Discovery.
Discovery Houston, you have a go to load targets.
Copy, go to load targets.
Discovery Houston, between TDRS Z and TDRS West, we will have about a 4-minute LOS period starting at 49:30.
Copy, 49:30 will be 4 minutes dropout.
Good afternoon and welcome to our post-launch press conference. We have with us today Don McMonagle, Manager Launch Integration for the Space Shuttle program.
Let me say we're very happy to have another mission in space. This has been a very busy week, as you know, preparing for the launch of STS-95. We have a very complex mission that's about to execute a lot of very important science for NASA and hopefully provide that science for the American people and for the world and a better understanding. This is a complex mission that has multiple tasks assigned to it that includes a lot of things that exercise the capability of the space shuttle. And this is a showcase demonstration of the space shuttle's capability and the unique capability that we have in it. Let me also say we're happy to fly what everyone perceives as a national, if not a world hero, and we're happy to have put him back into space again.